Hello, welcome to another exciting episode of SYNLAB Podcast. My name is Judith Obi, and today we're discussing something very interesting and very dear to me. We're discussing with the amazing Mr. Ajayi Adeyemi. And before we commence, I'm going to be reading his enviable profile. This is, brace for impact.
Judith, I'm trying to catch some breath.
Welcome on set, Mr. Ajayi. But before we start, I'd like to let everyone know how seasoned you are and how best qualified you are to speak to this topic on ground. So first of all, Mr. Adeyemi Ajayi is an accomplished and passionate human resource professional with proven record of performance and goal achievement spanning various industries, FMCGs, digital solutions, financial services, logistics. He's a graduate of business administration from Ambrose Ali University at Buma, and he has an MBA from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. His professional career spans 17 years. Wow, that's a lot. And he's achievement focused and goal oriented. And there are a lot of professional organizations you're part of here, and it's really mind blowing. You're part of the Nigerian Institute of Training and Development.
Yep.
You're a member of the Senior Professional Human Resource International, a member of the Institute of People Management Professional South Africa, Chartered Institute of Professional Management Nigeria Fellow. Wow, that's amazing. And he's presently the Human Resource Director for SYNLAB Nigeria. Wow, and HR lead for SYNLAB Emerging Markets, covering 13 countries, Europe, Africa, and Middle East. Wow.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. It's so good to have you.
Thank you very much, Judith.
I'm so happy to have you. And today we'll be discussing something very interesting, and we feel that you're the most appropriate person to talk to this. And we're talking about promoting wellness lifestyle at the workplace. Yeah, I believe this is something that this is something you must be, from all the professional accolades you have. I believe that one of the things in the front burner, especially with human resource professional, is the human.
Yes, the human in the resource itself, being humane.
So the human has to be alive.
Definitely.
That's
to add value.
To add value. So wellness and lifestyle. So can we discuss wellness? There's so much going on even globally. There's a world day dedicated to safety and wellness at the workplace. So what does wellness, when we say wellness, what does it mean to you? How does it resonate with you?
So for me, wellness means healthiness. It means being in good health, both physically, mentally, psychologically, and physiologically, as the case may be.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And because the term wellness, staff wellness, something like most HR just threw around to look like, they're very active and they're working around. What has been your experience, trying to implement these aspects of wellness in the workplace? I see you've worked for the past 16 years that you've worked. How have you ensured that team members are constantly in a well state?
So the general topic of wellness is quite broad, but when we begin to focus on the workplace, it starts from even how the people show up every day at work, starting from their mental states. Then we talk about people being able to focus, concentrate, being themselves, and bringing their whole self to the work environment. Then when they do get into the workplace, what is the work environment like? What is about the physical safety, the space, the air, the breath, the chairs they sit on? One of the key things that I'm very particular about in the workplace when it comes to wellness is the fact that people get to spend the majority part of their hours of their day in the work environment, most times sitting down. So we start from the position of ergonomics, the kind of chairs that people sit. Is it comfortable enough to ensure that, they are not damaging their spinal cord, as the case may be? The table, is it elevated enough? Even the laptop that they use, do we have enough protective, covering on the screen for them? So all of this whole thing is very, very, holistic in terms of wellness when it comes to employees in the workplace.
Wow. I'm glad that you started from the thoughtful, very thoughtful little things that most people ignore. I mean, ergonomic chairs are the way to go because for someone who is going to be sitting the whole day, I mean, that's something. And then let's move on to the other one, that feels like a recent buzzword, but it's not a buzzword. It's not just a buzzword. It is something that, is affecting, is ravaging the society, which is mental health, right? And, before now, if we tend to move it as a foreign word, we cover it with black don't crack, so we don't. What's all those mental health thing, So, what has your experience been managing mental health and basically ensuring that the mental health of your team members, is protected? You're watching out for them, and you're ensuring that you are consciously putting in practices that ensure that people do not burn out.
Right. COVID came with a whole lot of things. Proud to the COVID era. Mental health seems to be like something that is a bit far from the Nigerian work environment.
Yes.
We use things just something that's peculiar to the foreign countries and all of that. But COVID then came with a lot of stress and all of that on people. People having to work from home, spend longer hours on computers, working beyond their normal regular work hours. So for us in the workplace, one of the things that we had to begin to look at the period of COVID and thereafter is even trying to get the people to be psychologically ready to even come into the work environment all over again. Okay. Because, the whole staying at home for a longer period, not mixing with their team members, that was a whole lot for a lot of people to manage with. And then we begin to also look at issues around management and communication between the line manager and, of course, their junior colleagues in terms of how people speak to one another, the communication, the relationship, and then being deliberate about checking up on people, how they are doing. Okay. So you see people that they've gone through a lot of stress, and there are a lot of stressors, even in the work environment, even in the home front and all of that. So we encourage line managers to check up on people, to even be sure that people are psychologically ready even to come to work every day.
And then what about those mental health related or challenges or stressors, like you call them, that people are not ready to divulge to them to the team? As a senior HR advisor, and obviously people are watching this and they're taking notes and learnings from this. What have you done actively to put things in place that enable people to come forward to discuss what their challenges are, be able to get help that they require, and do help them get through that phase? So
the first thing here is to have an open door, communication in the work environment where people can easily access, especially the HR team members. People should be able to, beyond their line managers, they must be able to feel free to come forward to discuss personal issues and issues that affect their mental well-being. So one of the things we put in place is to ensure that we have an open door policy, and then freedom for people to be able to communicate at any point in time. And another thing is that even beyond the work environment, we've been able to also engage professionals who are able to provide counseling to people. So we have dedicated lines for people to make a call to be able to talk to a professional mental health expert who can help them whenever they have issues. And this is absolutely confidential outside the organization purview, so that the only thing is that we just get to make sure that at least where there are cases, we refer people and they feel free to manage that. And where the organization also needs to put in place policies to ensure that the people who are having mental health issues, they are accommodated within our policies. So we have policy around flexible work hours, work from home, and all of that for all our employees. They can access that, so that when they have challenges, at least we can manage their time out and all of that.
This is very interesting. I hope that people are taking notes, and organizations are also taking notes, just in case they haven't implemented these policies. Because at the end of the day, for staff to be productive, for team members to be productive, the environment they're working in has to be
very conducive and enabling.
The working tools as well, from what we see from this conversation, has to be there. So I thank you so much, Mr. Adeyemi Ajayi, for speaking to this.
It's been my pleasure.
In subsequent episodes, we are going to look at the other aspects of wellness.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure being on this show today.